I was born on June 23rd, 1936. Well, my dad was a coal miner, and so we lived in different coal mining areas. And so I think I was 3.5 when we went to Tennessee, and he was working in the coal mines there. We lived in little shacks, like I would call them. And I remember my mother was so clean that when we went into these little places to live, she would take sulfur. And she put sulfur all along the edges of the floor, and we would light it and burn it so that there would be no bed bugs or any kind of little things in that place. We would paste with flour and water. We pasted newspapers all along the walls because we didn't have paint. And so a lot of times I would lay and try to read those things. And we had a lot of comics too. My grandmother and grandfather had 5 children, and my mother and her sister Wilma were the last of the 5 children, and the first 3 children died of influenza within 6 weeks of each other. And it was very tough for my grandmother. She almost didn't make it as far as mentally. And so my grandfather worked with her, and she had my mother and her sister Wilma, and they were not allowed to go out and play. She was so afraid. She would dress them. They had to sit on the porch, and they were not allowed to get dirty or anything in those years. My mother, Maud, was 14, and she met my father, who was 25. And my grandfather did not want her to go with him. He was a coal miner. So my grandfather moved my mother and her sister to Ohio, to Toledo. And at Christmas time, my dad came up, and he convinced my mother and my grandmother to sign so that he could marry my mother, who at that time then was just about 15. So they got married, and they didn't have any children until my mother was 18. And after that, they have 10 children, and I was number 5. And there's 4 of us living today, and the rest have gone for their reward. In this place where we lived, and many places, there was no running water, there was no electricity, so we used oil lamps, and we would go to a spring to get our water. And one thing we had to do as kids, we had to go really quiet because there was frogs always around the pond, the spring. And so if they would go in, they would muddy the water, so we had to wait till it settled and then get the water to bring it home. We were living in Lake City, Tennessee, and that was really close to Oak Ridge, where they were building the atomic bomb. So 1942, 43, everybody in that town had to have the shades that you pull down, that's the green, where you can't see, because I guess for protection, so that if there was planes that would try to come over and bomb that. My dad got hurt in the coal mines when I was probably 13 or so, and my dad did sharecropping. At one place where we lived, the sharecropper grew tobacco, and our job was, my dad had this big barrel, and galvanized or whatever, and he would make a fire in it, and we had a can, and we had to pick the worms off of the leaves of tobacco and go throw them in that fire. So we did that for a whole summer. And that was really gross.
I'm going to Kansas City.
I met Chet when I was 17. My mom worked at General Motors.
Kansas City, Kansas City.
she mentioned to her boss that I would like to get a job in the evening at the school. So I went there, and I was a cashier, and he'd come by, and he loved my accent. He did. He loved Little Tennessee Hillbilly. He liked that. He asked me to go out, but he didn't get off till 11 at night. So he said, we'll go have coffee.
Till then, my darling, please wait for me. Till then, no matter when it will be.
I was 17 then, but he didn't know I was 17. But I met him, and that was in January. In January, he asked me to marry him. And of course, I was really happy, but I wasn't 18. Not till June. So we got engaged in January, and we married in August. So I was 18.
Till then, when all the world